Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Hey, greetings and salutations, everyone. Guess what time it is? It is Dr. Judy WTF time. And I am your host, Walt Lusk, as usual. And in studio is the amazing, ever popular, and mostly professional Dr. Judy Rosenberg. And we've got a very exciting and unique show today. We're hopefully having a call in. His name is Nick. I'm going to call him Nick at Night. And we're going to deal with some issues that Judy's going to elaborate on. But this is usually a call-in show. And we also have a very, very, very special tune that we're going to shrink today because we normally do one. And it's actually a song that has never, ever, ever been heard anywhere in the world before. This is a Dr. Judy WTF exclusive, which is amazing because my previous show that I used to be on, it was called Money and Music, we got that all the time. So I never thought on this show we'd do that. So it's quite an honor and a thrill. And I think we're going to be having more, but so stay tuned to listen to that show as song and our show. So, Judy, we're going to be talking about narcissism and more borderlines today.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about narcissistic borderline relationships and how that dance of pain and dance of dysfunction functions, or rather functions. We are going to have a special guest on today, a gentleman who's been in communication with me. We'll call him Nick, and he is in a relationship with a BPD, borderline personality disorder, and he's going to talk about how that's been for him over the past many years. And so, but first a little bit about the mind map that I created to heal human disconnect, because all these wounds, all these personality disorders, all these labels that we stick on people, narcissism, borderline, passive aggressive, any kind of a label that we can normally find in the DSM, which is our Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Psychopathologies, is really caused by mother-infant disconnect. And in order to form a healthy human psyche, we need some basic emotional ingredients, like we need to be touched, right? We need to have eye contact. No surprise, we need to be held, breastfed, ideally. We need to be under the care of one primary caregiver, and it's very, very important that this primary caregiver stay connected to us, meaning that in the first few years of life, if you're a parent, you don't want to be taking vacations away from your newborn or your few-month-old, because a baby really, really needs a parent, a mother, primary caregiver to self-soothe. Without self-soothing, the ability to soothe the baby will not learn how to self-soothe. And then the mess that is created as a result of that is our anxieties, our depressions, our personality disorders. And so when we're looking at a configuration called BPD, borderline personality disorder, we're going to talk a little bit about what makes up this personality disorder, what kind of family of origin, and when you look at the backdrop, the behind the scenes, the parenting style, then oftentimes you'll see a history of trauma, abuse, neglect. And so the people that, the babies that grow up under these conditions then find other people who activate the wound and bring them severely into chaos. So if you have an opportunity, Walt, if you could put up the mind map.
Sure.
So people
and those
can
of you that
see
are
it.
listening, you can go to drjudywtf.com and you can link it to our show and see the mind map. It is a 9-panel system, and it's from, through, to model, which means I guess we're dealing, you go from the challenge or the problem or the cause to this working out all the challenges and issues to the solution, which really is a paradigm shift, because Dr. Judy's very, very quick in terms of how she does therapy. And her goal is to have you become a shrink, to think like a shrink.
Doesn't that sound corny? But somehow I like it.
I think
'cause
I like it.
I really do, because that is what I do. I teach people how to think quickly, to connect the dots, to analyze the situation, and to dismantle it. Because what happens with problems is either the problem dismantles us, right?
Yes,
or
it
we
does.
have to become proactive and dismantle the problem. And it's no easy feat to dismantle your own problem, because oftentimes we have blind spots. Not oftentimes, but all the time we have blind spots, and we
do.
don't know what we don't know. So we need an objective observer stance.
We don't know what we don't see, but you have to understand one word that Dr. Judy said, reactive versus proactive. So
Correct.
the point is, many instances, we're all reacting to our own psychopathology. We're reacting to our environment. When the word and that phrase really hit me years ago when I read the 8 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And basically one of the habits was to be proactive. Now, granted, easier said than done, but for me, that was a huge paradigm shift. Instead of being a fireman and going from crisis to crisis to crisis to crisis and challenge, to have a little more of a goal and an idea and a mission, and be proactive.
Because it's the difference between being the cause of, because the system is called Be the Cause, Healing Human Disconnect. And we often repeat, and I will repeat, we are not
History
the
repeats
cause.
itself.
We are not the cause of part 1 of our lives. And we're not the cause because as infants we're sponges. As infants we're, you say the line, your favorite line,
The
Walt.
infamous line, there's another Judaism is, childhood is a hostage situation. We are, I guess I'm going to use the word victim of all the stuff, shall we say, that our parents throw at us. I mean, how many of you, when we were younger, heard the phrase, money does not grow on trees? So we live and learn as a child and an infant a sort of a perception of lack versus abundance when it comes to money.
Right. So because we're victims of childhood, because we don't have choices, it's not like if mommy or daddy are neglecting us or abusing us, or even not that radically. So if they're just not such great parents, we don't have the choice to pack our bags and walk out. Okay?
No, we're kind of
So
stuck.
we're kind of stuck.
Even if
And-
we're kind of locked into that car seat in the back seat of the car.
Yeah. But that's not always a bad thing, because by being kind of stuck, right, if we have some parents who are truly pillars and offer us the boundaries and the tools that we need to further our growth, then that's a good thing. So things go both ways. And today we're going to see how it bends in another way, in a not such great way. And I do want to thank Kimala for the song.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you had an opportunity to look up the name of the band.
I did. Well, I did not. I
But we
I
will,
couldn't pull it
and
up,
we're going to
so.
post it,
Yeah,
okay?
The song is one we never heard before, and you'll have to stay tuned to hear more.
Love Withdrawals is the song we're going to be
Like I
doing.
said, you'll have to stay tuned to hear more.
And you'll have to stay tuned to hear more. It's very appropriate to our show. And so just a little bit more about the mind map. The mind map is a system. It's a system for healing human disconnect. It's a system for allowing you to shift from being at the effect of to being the cause of, and being proactive about it, and dismantle all the wounds of childhood that are running the show, and activating core beliefs, and bringing chaos to our lives. And so I'm hoping that we will have a call in very soon.
Nick found us by listening to the show, and then heard a lot of our previous shows, and really was impacted by what he heard and what he learned. Contacted Dr. Judy through email, right?
Right.
And they've been dialoguing, and he has vested an interest to be on the show. So it's going to be interesting to hear his perspective of what he's learned, and a real life sort of inner perspective, because we've done the last couple of shows, we've done narcissism and borderline. Last week we talked a lot about borderlines, and next week we're probably going to talk about narcissism and Facebook, which I think is a really interesting topic.
I love the topic.
I mean, it's like,
Love
come on,
it.
look at me. I just bought a Venti at Starbucks, right? And bought it for the guy behind me. okay, great. That's just wonderful. And all the stuff that goes with
There's
Facebook.
a lot of research on
There
Facebook
is.
and narcissism
There
and
is.
how people are using Facebook to esteem themselves and build. And so we're going to talk a lot about that. I wanted to mention, for those of you who are looking for that peaceful healing dialogue, it is now up on my website under forums, and there's lots of stuff on my website. So just for you to know, we have all the shows archived. So there it is. All kinds of episodes.
And you can also look, and we're developing and looking for, we haven't named them because we just made the final transfer. You can go to YouTube as well, or Facebook or Twitter, but YouTube, and watch a lot of the shows, because we take the streaming shows, and we've been putting them up on YouTube, and you can watch us live if you want to. And without further ado, hey, Nick.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good. This is Walt. You are on the air
Hi, Walt.
with Dr. Judy and me. You're on the couch, too. Welcome.
Yes, sir. How are you doing? Hi,
We're
Dr. Judy.
fabulous.
Hi, how are you? So nice to
Good.
finally be able to connect live like this and deal with some of the things that you've been sharing with me. And I really do want to thank you very much for being an example to people,
being an
because they're going to
example,
learn a
and
lot from this
Absolutely,
conversation.
they are. And being on our show, a lot of people are really, really interested in this topic, so we really, really appreciate it. Now, you found us from listening to us on the radio, did you not? I mean, on the internet, did you not?
Oh, sure. Yes, sir. So actually, I've been reading a lot of Dr. Judy's blogs on her website and everything, and then I noticed about the show, and then so I just kind of went on the Stitcher website there, and I was able to pull up all the past shows, and I've been listening to a whole bunch of them, and it's actually really helped me a lot, put a lot of things in perspective, learn new things, like Hole in the Soul, the mind map, and a lot of that, and it's been very, very helpful so far.
I'm really delighted to know that, and I have a couple of questions for you, because we're going to get into the dynamics of this this relationship that seems to really have taken a toll on you. And so what I want to know a little bit about is, first of all, if you don't mind sharing with us, what kind of toll has the relationship that you're currently in? How has it affected you? How long? This is a marriage, correct?
How long
this
have
is
you
a marriage?
been with your partner?
Yes.
Let me see. It has been now about 18 months.
Okay.
I'm sure it seems longer.
Yeah, Walt and Dr. Judy, it's and I'm sure I'm not telling you anything new, but just I can tell you that I understand that this person from her heart does not mean to cause me so much agony and pain. But in my dating history / now married, this is the fourth borderline woman that I've come across, and obviously now I know very much about this disorder.
Wow.
And I know that she does not mean to cause me this much pain and agony, but it's just so exhausting.
Right.
The constant, do you love me? Do you love me? Where are you? Why didn't you answer the phone? It's been 5 seconds since you answered my last text message.
Right.
Are you seeing someone else? Blah, blah,
Yes.
And, Dr. Judy, there's only, and especially when you're at work. I mean, I know you're very busy in your work. I'm in the healthcare field also. Imagine while you're at work, every 2 minutes, 5 minutes, text message.
Right.
And I just want to say, I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere. You know what I mean, Dr. Judy?
Yeah, I know. And I know that that your soul knows that she didn't plan this. It's not like she got up in the morning and decided to make your life miserable. And that's the sad part, is that the people suffering from this disorder are not intentionally trying to do something evil. It's just that their pathology and their need to be esteemed, their need to be mirrored, their need to... Remember how I talk about all the ingredients it takes to form a healthy human psyche? The eye contact, the touch, all that. Clearly, it sounds like she didn't have much of that. And so now what's happening... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Dr. Judy, I can tell you from her family, from what I know now.
Okay.
Her mom is about 60 years old, and she definitely needs help. I mean, I from what I know about borderline, I'm pretty sure mom is. She has 3 brothers. The eldest one is surely narcissistic. The other 2 are okay, but so in her family, it runs for sure. And her dad, you know, God rest his soul, he passed away at 60 from a brain hemorrhage. And you know, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose. I never even knew him, but if I had to spend 40 years with that lady, my mother-in-law, I can see why maybe he didn't last too long.
He had a
You
brain
know what I mean?
hemorrhage. Yeah.
Yeah, and not to make any assumptions, but we all know that the mind and the body are interconnected, and we know that
Absolutely
stress raises
Yes, they
blood
are.
pressure, and I think what you started to describe is that it's also physically affecting you, not only mentally
Oh, Dr.
affecting
Judy.
you.
I mean, and you know, it's a little scary now because here's the thing, Dr. Judy. You know, when I was a child, Dad was very narcissistic. You know, Mom coming from a new country, India,
Okay.
Mom got very depressed. So I always felt the need to be almost a parent for Mom, if you know what I mean.
I
you know.
do.
So yeah, so when I grew up, it was like every woman who showed, it was like a pity party. Like I feel so sorry for these people because they just seem so pitiful. But then now I realize, Dr. Judy, I didn't bring these women in the world. I'm not responsible for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you're beginning to realize that this is not a win-win situation for you.
I mean, if you're messed up, it's not my fault. You were messed up before I ever came around.
That's right.
And you're always most likely going to be messed up unless you get some serious help. So why am I killing myself, right, Dr. Judy?
Right, because
Well, is it?
because
Do you want to be a knight in shining armor and try and save them?
Well, that's the thing, Walt. Getting in a relationship because of pity is a bad idea.
Yes.
And when I'm 33 now, so I was about 31, 32, you know, so much pressure to get married, the societal pressure, the cultural.
was this
and
an arranged marriage, by the way?
Well, I was introduced to her, but I got to know her on my own, you know, so I wasn't rushed. I wasn't pressured.
Okay.
I wasn't pressured by anyone, but I felt that societal pressure that now it's time, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And,
Absolutely.
you know, borderline women, they're amazing in the beginning. I thought I found everything I was always looking for, you know? And,
Right.
and then all of a sudden the mask comes off and boom.
How long
and you're
did
like,
how long did it take until the mask came off?
about 6 months.
Okay. And so
But
what
you know what? But you know what, Dr. Judy, I ignored the red flags because I wanted someone so bad to fill the hole in my soul, you know?
You're so honest.
And
It's so refreshing to hear you because you're doing something that I teach in my therapy, which is to self-reflect and self-correct. So I think that as you're seeing your partner exhibit these painful symptoms, you're checking in with yourself and you're thinking, wow, well, how did I attract this? Why was I drawn to this? And then that brings you back to you, which is where the healing has to go. Because if you don't dismantle your own core belief, if you don't heal your own wounds, then guess what's going to happen, right?
Right,
The next chapter of this.
And it's all that corrective experience, trying to correct the childhood, you know, and that's
Right.
not going to happen
Right.
through these women, you know.
No.
And I'm just feeling, you know, I love your stuff about the hole in the soul because it's me, like it's just one borderline woman after another trying to fill this empty space, you know.
And I want to get into that with you because I want to understand this other piece because it's like a puzzle, right? You've got her and her psychopathology, and then we've got you and your hole in the soul and whatever's not healthy within that. And then these two pieces come together. And as you know from the title of the show, Dr. Judy, WTF, What the Freud, what we do is we attract our wounds, and then we attract them not because we're stupid, but we attract them because we want to heal. We want a better ending, so to speak.
Trying to rewrite the story.
Yeah, we're trying to rewrite the the ending of the story, and I'm thinking of one particular. I think he's a psychiatrist or psychologist, Harville Hendricks, who talks about imago therapy and healing within the relationship. And it is possible. And I remember asking you, well, does she want to come to therapy? Does she want couples work? Is she willing to work on it? Because there are cases where people can heal within the relationship and they can consciously grow together. And I gather by the many times you said, no, she doesn't want to, that she still doesn't want to. Is that correct?
Correct. And she doesn't, the only thing she'll admit to is maybe some depression and anxiety, but that's about it. She really doesn't see anything wrong, you know? And you know, her mother has what I've read about, something golden uterus syndrome or something I've read about online.
Love that phrase.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
And her mom just, it's like she owns her, you know, and daughter is just so brainwashed by mom. And, you know, Dr. Judy, if I could get her away from mom, I'd have hope. But I can't fight these people anymore. And I'll tell you why, Dr. Judy. I was a guy who was very active, go to the gym, do everything. Like in the last 6 months, I stopped everything. The gym, friends, everything, depression, in bed. You know, Dr. Judy, this is no way to live.
No, it's not.
No, it's no way to live. And if you recall some of the episodes that we did on vampiring, we talked a lot about vampiring, where a relationship is supposed to be a 1 + 1 = 3 phenomenon, where you put your energy in and she puts her energy in, and through the two of you, you create more than just the two of you, and I call that synergy, okay? And what's happening in your case is you're not having synergy, you're being vampired, unfortunately. You're being sucked dry, your energy's being sucked dry, your emotions are being sucked dry, and in order for you to even attempt to be of help to her, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. You know, on airlines, they say if you're in trouble, especially if you're sitting next to your child, you don't put the oxygen mask on your child, because you've got to be strong enough and alive, right, to help that child. So same thing with you. I don't know what chapter 2 is going to be like between the two of you, because right now it seems like she's very bonded to her mother, probably very codependent upon her mother, and it's as though that relationship is really, really symbiotic, okay? And so that energy, I think when you pull out, that dynamics is going to change, because right now we've got a system, and the system is she and her mother, and then she and you, and you're a triad here, and just let's see what happens to the stool when one of the legs is pulled off, right?
And unfortunately, you're outnumbered. It's mom-in-law and your wife and you, right? So it's you're right. It's tough. You can't compete with it. You're outnumbered.
And what's so hurtful about this borderline pathology, Walt and Dr. Judy, I'll tell you, it's so hurtful, is I've done so much for this person, and sometimes the nasty things she'll say to me during a rage.
Yes.
It's like I don't believe you just said that after all I've done for you.
And see, here's the thing, is that the borderlines are so injured that it's hard for them to hang on to the goodness of you. So it's kind of like a healthy human being can ingest the love, digest the love, and manifest. It's like food. You know, you ingest it, you digest it, and then you manifest the health of the food. Hopefully you're eating healthy food. Okay, but in this case, she is having a problem really digesting this and really hanging on to you as the good object, because she's had insecure attachment. She's had probably the blinking lights phenomenon mom. So maybe the mother was there and then the mother was not there. And so that if you're not there within a 5-second phone call, right? Okay, then what's triggered in her is, oh my God, I can't self-soothe. I don't know how to self-regulate. And so she goes into the borderline spin and then the borderline rage. And guess who all of this anger really belongs to?
Who's that?
It's not you.
I want you to take a guess. Who
Give
do
you
you
a
think
hint.
this belongs to? All of this rage.
I guess her, right? Her and within her.
Yeah, all her anger that she's unleashing and projecting, as you will, on you is really belonging to guess who?
Mom?
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. So this is misdirected rage. I want you to really understand that. This is not personal, but that
no.
because she cannot work it out with her mother, because her mother's probably too injured herself and she's in her own narcissistic wounds, and she cannot have the ability to be therapeutically corrective to her daughter because she's not even therapeutically available to herself. Okay, so that little dyad isn't going to be a corrective emotional experience. So then she turns to you hoping that you will, quote, get her. And what she wants you to get is she wants you to get the infant that is bleeding, that feels abandoned, that feels rageful, that feels that she's been unattuned to, unattended to. And anytime you trigger any of that, it doesn't have to be exactly that, but it could be as if that, and then bang, panel 4, 5, 6. And for those of you who don't know what 4, 5, 6 is, maybe you can, let's review it. Okay, so number 1, panel 1 is the wound.
Of the mind map. We're talking about
correct.
the mind map here, folks.
Maybe just put it up there for a second.
You can go to drjudywtf.com and check out the mind map, the 9 panels. It's
right.
up. It's up.
Thank you. Okay, so I just want you guys who are listening in and viewing it to see the mind map, because panel 1 is the wound of mother-infant disconnect. This is where Nick's wife was injured. She didn't have the ability to have all of those emotional needs met. So when she experiences this mother-infant disconnect, she goes into a reaction to this wound, a reaction of anxiety, or a reaction of withdrawal, or a reaction of becoming somatic and becoming upset. And then she encodes this into the fiber of the being, of her being, which is panel 3 now, kind of a core message of I'm not important, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I'm not number one, something of the sort. Then what happens is that when you come into the picture, you trigger off that core belief that she's not enough, she's not important, she's not lovable, and then bam, 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 panel 4, 5, 6. Chaos, defense mechanisms, and then the borderline rage, which is the clash. And then you become the object of projection. And then you, of course, don't want to be in the line of fire. And then you start backing away, and that makes her crazier because she wants you to fix it. And she wants you to be there for her in the face of all of her mess and say, you know, it'll be okay. This is not about me, or, you know, no, she won't be that sophisticated to see that. And then what happens is that it cycles through, and this is now 18 months. And then as a result of this, you get weaker, you get depressed, your energy goes, you become more and more dysfunctional. And then not only can you not be of any good to her, you can't be of any good to yourself or anybody else. And you
might be more withdrawn as well, which then adds more insult to injury.
Right,
and
right.
There's an article. There's an article that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say. Well, remember we were speaking the other day, or emailing. You know, like when I asked my family and friends and things like that. You know, the advice is so bad. They're like, but she's just a. I mean, you're a man, and she's just a sweet little girl from India. I mean, you're a man. Just be a man and deal with it.
Suck it up, I think was the phrase you used.
Yeah, suck it. And I said, look, she's not beating me up. She's not throwing things at me. And she's not punching me. This isn't. She's not fighting. We're not fighting like with fists. You know what I mean? This is an emotionally damaged person.
That's right.
Taking it out on me every minute.
Right.
This isn't about being a man. This is about just getting toxicity out of my life.
So well put, because I think that if you look at it from another lens, which is how people are looking at it, come on, you know, she's just a sweet little girl from India. What are you doing? You know, so if she's having a rageful fit, so what? women do that. Maybe she's on her period. Maybe it's a lengthy
That's
period.
what they say. Yeah,
Right,
emotional,
you know.
That time of
hormonal.
month.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but this is not that.
No,
this is not
not
that.
every day, yeah.
Okay, and unfortunately, because of this perception from other people, then you feel like, you know, quite an a-hole, right, for not sucking it up and being a man and calming down the little girl who is having a hissy fit, and now you're the bad guy, and then the guilt and the shame.
And again, everybody is now ganging up on you. You've got mom-in-law, you got your wife, you got all your friends, and you're out in the cold, thinking, heck, what happened to all this? There's an article that actually I got from Dr. Judy. That those you're interested a little bit more about. It's entitled "The Family Dynamics of Patients with Borderline Personality Disorder." And just two things real quick. One is called the spoiler. What she's doing is, you know, she's spoiling it. You know, things are going on great, and she spoils it by what this article talks is splitting. Right?
Splitting.
One
Borderline
minute,
splitting.
1 minute she's an angel, and the next minute she's quite the contrary.
Right, exactly, and that'll drive you crazy. And
Yes,
then
it will.
and then another feature, and you tell me if you notice this in your relationship, is that there is such a hole in the soul that it's never enough.
No,
So
it's never enough.
if you love
It's like
her,
as you mentioned this last week's show, it's like a bottomless pit or a glass with a crack in it. No matter how much you put in, it's never going to be full.
Bottomless pit. Bottomless pit. Yep.
so okay, continue on.
Well, before you continue, I thought you folks are listening to Dr. Judy WTF here. I'm your host, Walt Lusk, and we have Nick on the phone. I'm calling him Nick at Night. Of course, we may have to continue this for another session or so. We'll see. And he's talking about how he has experienced firsthand someone we talked about last week, and that is someone with the borderline personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
It's been quite an education. So thanks for coming.
Dr. Judy. So I'll kind of tell you what I've done recently to help myself. Okay.
Okay. How are we on time, Walt? By the way, just to give me a time check
We've
on
got
this.
about 15 minutes.
Oh, amazing. Okay, a lot will be
15
done in 15 minutes.
Well,
Go ahead.
And Dr. Judy, I'm doing a lot better right now, and I'll tell you how I'm doing it. One, my wife is in India right now, so that's good.
Okay.
Okay. So second is you've been a great help with your past shows, your blogs. It's been a big help, you know.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for bringing that
Yeah.
up. Really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
I've been doing a lot of reading, meet my counselor once a week. And here's what I've done, Dr. Judy.
Okay.
Okay. I've strengthened my boundaries, meaning just because you're crazy, you're not going to make me go crazy, okay?
Good.
So I've strengthened my boundaries.
Okay.
I don't even take it personal anymore. Even a rage, okay, whatever. Just
Good.
go away.
I
Okay,
love
whatever.
it.
Good.
Okay.
Good for
Love
you.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even care what you have to say because I've had enough. Bottom line, okay? So, Dr. Judy, that's really good. That's really good stuff. I'm really starting to take care of myself. You know, Dr. Judy, now it just comes down to removing the toxicity from my life.
Okay.
I think that's it, Dr. Judy. And the last time I tried to do this, which was about 4 months ago, I stopped talking. I just stopped talking, and it was, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill myself.
That's
you know,
so common.
emotional blackmail.
That's right.
Yeah.
Borderline PDs, personality disorders, threaten suicide because they literally feel that they're going to die. They feel like they're going to die if you abandon them. So what's worse than death is abandonment. And so she will scream bloody murder. And so, you know, it's always very delicate to do therapy or talk about the subject to the person on the other end, which is you, because she's not here, right? And, you know, there's always this consciousness within my being that, wow, whatever you're going to do is going to affect another human being. So you have to be very careful about that, right? So even though you're making a decision that's possibly life-giving to you, you have to understand that you have to do it with compassion, and you have to do it with logic, and you have to do it strategically so that she doesn't off herself, because she might end up attempting suicide. Has she ever attempted suicide?
Not that I know of. No.
Okay. She's threatened, but she's never said to you, I have a plan, I'm going to take pills, or I'm going to slit my wrist, or anything like this?
The only thing she's ever mentioned to me is she wants to not be very old when she goes. She'd rather go younger. She doesn't want to see old age.
Okay.
She wants to go see her dad in heaven. Like, that's the only thing she said to me.
I see. Okay. So just keep in mind that if and when you decide to leave the relationship, that you do it with as much consciousness toward softening the blow, although it's never going to be softened
Yeah, it's not
in her
easy.
case,
Delicate.
and to make sure that she's in a safe environment and maybe surrounded by her family and the people that love her. And it's just really sad to me that she won't get help. But then again, when do I see people in treatment? I see them when they're falling apart. I see them when they're in crisis. You know, not too many people come in and say, hey, you know, I'm doing great. I want to continue to do great. So I'm going to use your services to make sure that I continue to do greater. That doesn't happen very often. What generally happens is I have people call and sometimes they even say, hey, can I see you today? And I know what that means. I know that they're in crisis. And then they show up to my office and they're in crisis, and they're in chaos and they're breaking down. And sometimes that makes people ripe for therapy. Sometimes you have to, it's like a bottoming out. You know, alcoholics have to bottom out. Okay? So it's possible that she needs to bottom out. You just want to make sure that when she bottoms out, which she will, but we don't know if that's her bottom, that her bottom isn't death. How old is your wife?
30.
Okay, so it would be really, really ideal if she went into some kind of a form of crisis that propelled her to take seriously her condition, and that she get to that, I call it that precipice point, where she makes a choice. And the choice will probably be, I don't know what the probably will be, but then she has a choice. She has a choice to either get herself into treatment or continue to spiral down. And unfortunately, that's not something that you can choose for her. All you can do is do the right thing, because since you guys are in a system, when you start getting healthier, then it'll shift the system, because you're no longer going to be playing into it and perpetuating this dynamics. And as soon as you stop perpetuating it, she's going to have to, she's going to be in a shifted system.
And Dr. Judy, that's interesting you mentioned that, because even now she says to me, you know, you've changed so much. You don't love me like you used to love me.
Right.
You know,
she doesn't like the
I have
boundaries. She doesn't like the boundaries. She doesn't like that you're not taking it personally, because the favorite defense mechanism of the borderline personality disorder, and everybody listening, I really want you to hear this, is because they've never been empathized with. Okay, they've never been empathized with. So what they're trying to do is instigate a feeling within you that makes you feel crazy, because that's how they're feeling. So they're communicating unconsciously. It's like they don't have the words to say, you know, I feel really lost, I feel really abandoned, I really feel sick, I'm hurting, I've been projecting all this on you, I'm so sorry, you don't deserve it, I'm really upset at my mother. Mommy dearest is the untouchable, and that's why I do what I do, because there's a taboo in our society about talking about the injury of the parent to child, and I'm not talking about blaming, shaming, criticizing, judging that mom, because I know very well that mom, that dad, that grandmother, that grandfather, multi-generationally speaking, and also, we'll get into this on another episode, there are cultural infiltrations, meaning there are cultural injuries that affect us as well. And so all this pressure from the past is now bearing down on your system in the here and now. And so this is very, very hard to see, because we are so into ourselves and into our pain, we cannot see the backdrop of the history. So this is long and deep and multi-generational. And in order to break out of something like this, people need core work, and they need to dismantle this stuff.
She's been working on this for her whole life. And as we talked about last week, a lot of the stuff that she's pulling was for control purposes. And of course, we all fall for it. And you are very wisely figuring that out, and therefore she's losing control.
Right. And Walt, he's figuring it out because he's feeling it. Because, Nick, she's unconsciously communicating with you, and she's basically taking her feelings and throwing them at you, and you're identifying with the feelings, and you're ingesting her feelings and digesting them and reacting to them. And so that's her language of communication. Look how sick I am. See how sick you are? That's how sick I am. See how crazy I feel? You feel it. You feel what I feel, and now we'll be on the same page. And that's really what she'd love to have you get.
And another thing, Dr. Judy, is just it's so much hypocrisy, so much control. She wants to just control. And it's just, let me ask you one question, Judy. When these people say, I love you, do they really love, or is it just I need you to fill this void?
That's
what
a
is
really
it
great question. I think in that context is I need you, because they don't really know what healthy love is, because healthy love begins with separation, individuation in a healthy manner, not a trauma of a shock of being dropped and abandoned or abused or whatever happened to her. And you can tell me more about what happened to her, because something happened to her, and I know that she has a narcissistic mom. And if you all who are listening, including you, Nick, go to the episode on narcissistic parents, narcissistic mom, you'll see how injurious it is when a mother puts herself before the baby. The energy flows the wrong way.
Absolutely.
And the whole system the whole system gets messed up.
Yep.
So now you're the happy recipient of this injured person. And we haven't even gotten into your own self-reflected injuries. And I know that you're aware that you have your own injuries that now you have to unearth, so to speak, and heal and exorcise and express, so that you don't carry that with you to the next relationship, and you don't attract this dynamics. And, I'm happy to continue this conversation. And if you're willing, I'm willing. And if you want to do this again next time or whenever you're available, I'm happy to then do a part 2 on this and examine your hole in the soul and get what's going on from your dynamic end, so we could start putting the puzzle pieces together. What do you think about? What do you think of that idea?
Yeah, that would be great. And in the last just couple minutes that I have, I just want to say that one thing that you'll be very happy to hear is that I've never tried to fill this hole in the soul with anything bad like alcohol, drugs, pornography, nothing ridiculous. Just the only thing I've ever tried to fill it with is love, which I didn't get,
And that is something that, as you know, people try to fill it with. They try. I call it fill the hole in the soul with drugs, sex, and rock and roll. Okay, that's what people try to fill it with, and I think that you're going in another direction. But now you're getting tired, and it's draining. So I do invite you to come back next week, if that's okay with you. Are you available at this time?
Yes, we can. Yes, for sure. Yes.
Okay, let's continue this Hole in the Soul series, and I really, really appreciate you sharing this. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who are experiencing this themselves, and I invite you all to take a look at your relationship and your own hole in the soul and see how these puzzle pieces fit together.
And as we talked last week a little bit about, was in the beginning of a relationship, we have the elation-ship. And then it, of course, becomes more of a relationship where we're in the ship of the relationship. Then all the stuff comes out and it's relation shit. And then, of course, what Nick's going through now is relation shift. Yes.
And the only way we shift is when we self-reflect and self-correct and dismantle the psycho-DNA, if you will, of the patterns that we soaked in from our family of origin.
Hey, Nick, so thanks a million for calling and expressing. We'll look forward to catching up with you the same bat time next week.
Sure, guys, and I really appreciate your help and all your time.
Well,
and one thing, Dr. Judy, I'd like to touch on next week also is kind of the guilt I feel, the guilt and the obligation, if we could touch on that as well.
Oh, yeah, because there's a human life at stake here. So, yes, please, we will do that.
Sure.
Well,
okay.
Most definitely.
Sure. Thank you guys very much.
Definitely.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, there it is. Nick at Night. We're going to have a part 2 next week. Hope you all enjoyed that. It's real hands-on of dealing with the multiple personality disorder, and it's a handful.
No, this is not a multiple
I'm sorry.
personality
I'm sorry.
disorder,
I'm
but it
thinking,
feels
like,
like it
it's
because there are
multiples 'cause
so
she's
many
splitting.
moods going on. BPD,
BPD,
borderline
not MPD.
not the MPD, but
How
the
dyslexic of me.
BPD, right?
Borderline
and,
personality disorder, excuse me.
And as just a quick comment to all of you who are parents, understand that the better you parent and the more you give your child these emotional supplies, the more you will prevent your child or your children
Absolutely.
from ending up in a shrink's office and having to work all this through and creating lots of chaos in their personal lives.
So moving on to our song, which is We're Gonna Shrink, is a song that, again, has never been heard before. It's a brand new song, and we've got we're really blessed to have it here, and we're gonna shrink it right out the box. It's called Love Withdrawals. And I'm just going to start reading the lyrics, and of course, Dr. Judy are going to interpret.
And I want to acknowledge Kamala Kim for handing me this beautiful piece of music and lyrics, and we're going to post on our website the author, the vocalist, and it'll be all there. So
and it'll be released soon.
Absolutely.
Lying in my bed, my body's aching. All I need is one more dose of you. Sitting up in bed, looking out the window, thoughts of you, thoughts of you, thoughts of you, trying to figure out just what to do.
Okay, so from a borderline personality disorder perspective, I'm going to shrink this tune. Sorry, producers, if I'm taking it and twisting it, and but I think it's very apropos. I don't think I
poetic liberties.
I don't even think I have to twist it very hard. I mean, here's a person, she's aching, and we know that the mind and body are interconnected, so it's probably the case that she's feeling the hole in the soul, and it hurts, and she needs to fill it with a dose of him. So she's sitting in the bed and she's staring out the window, that kind of hollow, empty feeling, and she's obsessing, she's thinking about the person, and she doesn't know what to do. It's that infant baby self who's alone, abandoned, and doesn't know how to attune to herself and self-soothe.
And that's just the start.
Yeah.
You gotta stand up, look in the mirror. This is reality, no more fallacy. I've been so obsessed with you, but you make me sick.
Well, I love the word mirror because what these people don't get is mirroring. So she's looking at the mirror to get a sense of self. Okay, and she's realizing, oh boy, I'm in trouble. I'm not doing well, and the problem now is that I'm not doing well. I need you. I'm obsessed with you, but the problem is who you are makes me sick. So it's kind of like I need the drug, but the drug makes me sick.
I'm looking for a cure of all those love withdrawals. I need an antidote for all those love withdrawals. Drink up, love, love, love. Got me faded on your love. Getting higher on your love. Intoxicated, addicted to your love. Going through withdrawals when I'm not with you.
Well, there's the hole in the soul,
verse,
and
though,
she's filling it with the love. And now that the love isn't there, it's worse than a withdrawal from heroin in some cases. I've seen people buckle over and just curl up in fetal position. And she wants to be drunk on love. She needs to get high, but he's not there. So it's withdrawal time.
Overdose. Every time you come close, so fine I go comatose. You're like an overdose. Can't get enough. I roll up, smoke ya, love ya, sip it. Keep it coming back. I'm addicted. I'm the sky I lifted, so bad from ya head to toes. Ah, stand out from the most. Raise your glass, make a toast. YOLO till you overdose. Sprinkle, zupa, let me marinate, excuse me. Long time since ya let your soul liberate. Every day, all week, all weekend. Turn it up. I'm peaking.
So can you hear the ups and downs? The overdose, the druggish quality of this love, the overdosing. She's sipping it like it's some kind of drug, and then
trying to savor it.
Yeah, she's trying to savor it and let it kind of like marinate into the core of her being because she's so empty. She's got to get it in there. And this is like up and down. She's peaking on the drug, but you know what happens when the drug starts wearing off. Right.
Can't believe you had me so sedated. Maybe you were stronger than I thought. Why would you just go and break me down? No more wasted time.
Okay, so can you see the projection? She's projecting on her lover that he's breaking her down, and that she can't even believe that she got so delusionally sucked into all of this. And this is a replication of her childhood wound. She's so disappointed that she put her love into the wrong person, just as it happened early in her infancy.
And then we got the chorus again. Got to stand up, look in the mirror. This is reality, no more fallacy. I've been so obsessed with you, been you making me sick. I'm looking for a cure for all those love withdrawals. I need an antidote for all those love withdrawals. Drink up your love, faded on your love, higher on your love, addicted to your love, going through withdrawals when I'm not with you.
Yeah, I mean, just on and on and on, obsessively, incessantly going through this cycle of withdrawals, and higher and higher, and then lower and lower.
Yeah, the highs and the lows in the last verse. Middle finger to the devil was on another level. Gotta push it to the limit. Just give me that whole thing. I don't want no snippet. If it's what you want, then what you want. Go and get it. So cut it up. Swings sharp machete, so boiling hot, wet and ready. Love withdrawals in my veins. Veins turn down for what? Who pushed me off the plane? Gotta love withdrawals in my vein.
Okay, so here's a person who sticks her finger up to middle finger, a real F-U, to the devil, meaning the addiction, and she's so angry that she's hooked to this particular dynamics, and yet she's so attracted. She just wants the whole thing. I mean, it sounds really sexual, doesn't it? She wants to fill her hole in the soul, not just a little snippet, but the whole thing. And so she just is boiling over. She's wet and ready. And she's ready to take in this toxicity on all levels. And it ain't working for her, because these love withdrawals, even though in her veins, it just is not calming her down. It's not soothing her. It's not enough. And now she's over the edge.
And folks, that is our show. You've been listening to Dr. Judy WTF. The song was called Love Withdrawals. We're going to close the show out with it. You can write us at info@Dr. Judy WTF if you'd like to, with any queries or questions, or suggestions for a show or song to shrink. You can pull us, as you've heard, on Stitcher and iTunes, and of course here at ubnradio.com. And so I'm Walt Lusk, and you've listened to Dr. Judy WTF, which is What the Freud with Dr. Judy Rosenberg.
And I want to wish the people who are the artists of this song all the success in the world.
Absolutely.
I think it's coming out in the next few months. So best
give a
of
listen
luck
to
with
Love
this
Withdrawals.
song.
And stay tuned next week. We're going to have another show with Nick at Night. God bless everyone.
One more dose of you.
comatose. You like an overdose. Can't get enough. I roll it up, smoky love, sip it. Keep coming back, I'm addicted. To the sky, I'm lifted. So bad from your head to your toes. Stand out from the moles. Wrist glass, nigga toes. YOLO till you overdose. Sprinkle, super, let it marinate. Long time since you let your soul liberate. Every day, all week, all weekend. Turn it up, I'm geeking.
Can't believe you had me so sedated. Maybe you were stronger than I thought. Why would you just go and break me down? No more wasted time. No more, gotta stand up.
EDM hip-hop rebels. The super triple, we no gimmick. Middle finger to the devil, we on another level, gotta push it to the limit. Just give me that whole thing. I don't want no snippet. If it's what you want, then what you want, go get it. She cut it up, swing, shot, machete. She boiling hot, wet and ready. Love withdrawals in my veins turn down for what? Push me off the plane, got love withdrawals in my veins.
Gotta stand